Thomas Piketty's book is doing so well. It's #1. It's called Capital in the 21st Century, and it's fascinating that this book is doing so well because it's a real economic thesis, but it talks about economic inequality, and it's flying off the shelves, and everybody's buzzing about it. And maybe that there are some structural issues with capitalism, and it's a fascinating thesis. Now, you would think that a progressive administration like the one we theoretically have in the U.S. would be really interested in this. Like, wow, okay, Thomas Piketty talking about the inequality that the president pretends to talk about all the time. Like, oh, wow, he cares so much, right? Great, we're happy with this, right? Not really. Because, in fact, of course, the president is very far from progressive, especially on economic issues like this. And all of his financial advisors have been deeply right-wing. Tim Geithner, Larry Summers, and the list goes on and on. Tim Geithner right now, his former Treasury Secretary, is on a book tour talking about how he had no choice. He had to help all of the banks that crashed the economy. Oh, golly gee, there was no other way of handling it. So you think they're going to like Thomas Piketty's thesis that capitalism is causing some of the inequality? No way, no way. So the current top economic advisor to President Obama is Jason Furman. He's the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors. And so what does he say about Piketty's book? This thesis is intriguing and an important source of concern, although it is unclear how likely it is. In other words, inequality, we're not buying that. No, you give more to the establishment, more to the powerful, and then it'll trickle down. Did we say we're Democrats? Did we say we're liberals? That was a good one, wasn't it? No, get out of here, Piketty. New York Times explains a little bit more Jason Furman's issues with Thomas Piketty's thesis. He says, in addressing his recommended policies for fighting global inequality, Mr. Furman mentions long-standing priorities of the Obama administration, such as expanding access to preschool, striking international trade deals, and raising the minimum wage. Oh, come on, go ahead. Thomas Piketty is talking about the structural problems in capitalism. You're talking about preschool. Now, preschool is a wonderful thing, and you should put more money into that, but that is not going to solve global inequality. Now, raising the minimum wage is a good step. I'm in favor of that, and that's fair. To include that on the list is fair. Striking international trade deals, the trade deals that our representatives weren't even able to see for a long time, now their staffers can't look at, the American people can't look at. The only people who could look at them is multinational corporations. And the reason we're doing those trade deals at this point is for the benefit of those multinational corporations. That is not going to lead to less inequality. It's going to give us more inequality. The corporations are going to have even larger advantages over the American people. That's why they don't want us to see it, and that's why they're allowed to see it. And you're telling me that's Obama's big answer to Thomas Piketty's book that everybody's now talking about, saying, hey, wait, this is a huge issue in the world, and specifically in the U.S.? Your issue is, no, don't worry, I'm going to turn over our trade deals to multinational corporations. That'll do it. You got to get it through your head, man. President Obama is nowhere near a progressive. And then finally, the New York Times also says, there is no sign he's embracing the more radical solutions for rising inequality that Mr. Piketty recommends, such as drastically higher taxes on income in the highest brackets or a global 2% tax on wealth. Now, I give you that partly because it shows you that the Obama administration has no interest in Piketty and no interest in actually doing real change to address global inequality, but also because of the New York Times point of reference, the way that they frame it. Those are radical solutions. Hey, we play around with the preschool budget. That's a perfectly lovely solution because it doesn't really change anything. It makes you feel better, but it continues the system exactly as it is. You want to raise taxes on the rich a little bit? Radical. Wow, that is such a radical proposal. By the way, for most of American history, including the golden era, and what conservatives call the golden era, right? 1950s, 60s, our tax rate hovered between 70 to 90%. If you propose that now, heads exploding all over Washington. President Obama isn't even willing to do the tiniest little changes. And then when you talk about real change, he's like, ooh, radical. And the New York Times, unfortunately, agrees with this framing. The overall article might point out accurately that they have an issue with this book, and I'm glad they wrote the article, but fix your framing. In fact,
fix your face. Fix your face.
Had to throw it.